got to be pretty darn exciting to be you.
Oh, you bet.
Because every Monday you look at a new medical journal and you're finding out more areas that stem cells can help your patients.
It's fascinating. Every single day there's a new article coming out about what they're doing and different labs across the country and what they've discovered.
So this is, to equate it to something, this is an arms race for stem cells where people, smart people at labs and at universities around the country are doing their best every day to try to bring this forward.
Yes, absolutely. We've got universities across the country who have now set up stem cell departments just for this purpose.
And it is funny you should mention that. In reading about, to learn more about stem cells prior to this interview, the University of California at San Francisco Medical School is considered by many the top medical school in the country.
Yes.
And the name of their stem cell lab is the Roddenberry Stem Cell Lab.
Right.
After Gene Roddenberry from Star Trek.
Oh gosh, yes, that's great.
And you know, literally this gentleman decided that this is something he wanted to use in his, and what is more Star Trekian,
yes,
if that's a word, than the ability to use our own cells to repair tissue and repair and make you feel better.
That's right.
So it's kind of a full circle. So when you got into this, do you remember your first super success and how that made you feel? Where you're really able to help a patient?
Oh, absolutely. So while I was still in practice, I was working side by side with a new stem cells company that was just coming up, the Northwest Pain Relief Centers out in Seattle. And they were one of the first that got busy doing this type of work for people. And so to see people who've got knees that are almost bone on bone, and it's funny because we hear that all the time. People tell me, oh, doc says I'm bone on bone, I need a knee replacement. Well, we just kind of chuckle at that, honestly, because that's rarely the case. There are occasions where, yes, someone's actually in a grade 4 degenerative osteoarthritic knee, but more often than not, it's not that far along. And so it's still salvageable. It's still a knee that you can repair, that you can bring back. And so to actually see visibly on an x-ray or an MRI that the tissues are healing and repairing, and to seeing the joint space expand like back to normal is quite dramatic. You can't miss that, it's just amazing.
That is the first time you saw that had to be a great feeling.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you knew that now your life's work is
right.
possible. And I went through a shoulder replacement in April, and we were talking before we started taping.
Right.
Everything went right, but it's still $50,000 to $80,000. It's still 30 or 40 trips to go to physical therapy.
Right.
It's a couple nights in the hospital.
Correct.
And a lot of pain.
Yes.
And so with stem cells, I didn't need to go through that.
Probably didn't. I don't know that for a fact. Obviously, I haven't seen your x-rays or MRI. But yes, more and more often that is true. That really the stem cells should be the first line of defense in these sorts of things.
So it'd be a sea change in medicine if in fact, and people my age are going through it. If you've been an athlete most of your life, you've been around, you're going to need a replacement, just the way it is, because we do a lot more with our knees, ankles, shoulders,
right.
that sort of thing. But also we're finding people with a lot of other maladies are getting benefit from stem cells. Can you talk about some of the other things?
Yeah. So one of the unique things about that our company that I'm really quite proud of is that we are part of an IRB, which is an institutional review board. So those are protocols filed with the FDA so that they can monitor exactly what we're doing, how we do our procedures, and what kind of outcomes we're getting. And so for that reason, we're allowed to track these over time, so we can work with a patient, not just have them come in for a procedure and then let them go, but to actually follow up with them every 3 months over the course of a year, and then on an annual basis over the course of 5 years. So we're really doing some good study work. So like you're talking about different conditions. So
sure.
We have a whole list of different types of conditions that we're studying with stem cell therapy. So, for instance, rheumatoid arthritis, right? That's a horrible
That's
one.
a killer.
Absolutely. It systemically destroys the body as well as the joints. Most notably, people complain about joint pain with rheumatoid arthritis. Well, rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune condition. Okay, it's a condition where your immune system is mistakenly attacking joints of the body as foreign. Okay, well that's not normal. That's not something the body's designed to do. Now, what causes that is still up to, there's lots of opinions there, but probably some of that genetic, some of that environmental. right? Well, when we take these stem cells, okay, again, when we remove the stem cells from you, from the fat tissue, and concentrate them, and then send them into the body as an IV, okay, these stem cells that go into the body,
And we're talking millions of cells.
yeah, tens of millions, right? Just through an IV, just if you can imagine yourself at a hospital, you got the little bag and it's dripping into the arm, right? So that's how we send it through as an IV. Now what's unique or special is that as these stem cells go back into the body, they start to excrete something called, well, this goes back a number of years, but what I learned in biology is that your cells produce little garbage trucks, and they're little, these are nanometer molecules. They're tiny little things that the cells excrete out into the periphery, into the extracellular space. And then you have these chuck wagons that would bring food back to the cell. So it looked like the cell was excreting waste and bringing in nutrients.
And that's just part of the process.
And that's what we learned when we were young in school. What we know today is nothing could be further from the truth. This is probably one of the latest miracles of medicines, that we've learned that stem cells produce what are called exosomes. And these are these tiny little, I'll call them bubbles, for a lack of a better word, inside the cell. It goes out to the cell wall and then excreted out into the periphery and circulates through the body. Those are the exosomes, and what we've learned is those are signaling molecules, okay? And they have a unique ability to change the body and how it's reacting. It stimulates growth and repair throughout the body. It downregulates the immune system that is acting inappropriately, such as rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis you can get to either go away or at least go into significant remission through just IVing your own stem cells.